Now comes the highlight of today's program. May I call upon our guest of honor, Professor Wong to speak to us. 現在邀請主禮嘉賓黃淑英教授致辭。請黃教授。
Can you hear me at the back? Okay, great. Okay. Thank you all. Good morning, Dr. Lee, the principal, our honorable guest, and parents, teachers, and students. I have a very formal statement to start with, but I do want to say something not as formal. Life is full of surprises, right? You will not have imagined that we will have our graduation ceremony in a school, in our neighboring school. What does that say to us? Life is not only full of surprises, but think positive. Most of them should be pleasant surprises, if I may say. Because the principal, our guest, parents, and students, we have decided to do it. So it's the determination. And not only the determination that counts, but also because we get this excellent brotherhood help from the school next door. So you can't do it alone. You want it not just to make it smooth, you want it to make it successful. Then you look out and seek help, and you make a quick decision with great determination to make it a full, complete success. So is that okay? All right, okay. It really is a great, great honor for me to join you on this very, very special day. I can't even remember when was the last one that I experienced a graduation day for myself. But I remember it was very emotional. It was absolutely an ecstasy of joy. It was full of hope, I must say. I think life has been doing, or God and fate have been doing very well on me. I feel very happy with what I am doing, especially that I am doing something that I do not treat it as a job, an occupation. I do it because I enjoy it every day. I do it because I know I can still fusing something new with all people who work around and with me. So this is really what I think my spectrum of what I still call career aspiration is still here. But most importantly is it also expands my spectrum of life meanings for working in something that I really want. Now, as you are all about to finish your secondary school, you may be wondering what you will be doing in 10, 20 years' time. Let me tell you, this is a very popular question if you go for job interviews, scholarship interviews, or even in Chinese youth admission interviews. We won't ask you, what are you going to do in the next 4 years? But most of the time we ask you, what can you imagine where you will be, what you will be doing in 10, 20 years' time? Now, let me just offer you a very quick search, and if you would like to do it, you can do it tonight on the internet. There's a study conducted by a group of researchers from Oxford University. It's a very interesting research because what they have found, based on their research findings, many of our jobs today will no longer exist in 10, 20 years' time. All right? So what they call a telegraphs, the Telegraph's newspaper, they have actually compiled a list of jobs ranked in terms of how likely they will be replaced by other things. AI, artificial intelligence, for example. Now, if you look at jobs such as what we usually call, people call your smartphone up and tell you a whole package of deals, good deals that you can get. We call those telemarketers, all right? Now, you will see that in the study, based on the study, 99% of this kind of jobs will no longer exist in 10 years' time. So you won't even imagine yourself, not only you won't get phone calls like this, but there will not even be jobs of such in the market. Or another very popular, perhaps not so much in Hong Kong, but could be in many other places in the world, we call them tax experts. So you all have to file a tax return. Those tax experts who help clients to prepare tax returns, their jobs will also have a 99% chance of being replaced. Same with sports referees, since now sports and games are monitored by sensors, CCTVs. So in short, in average, about 30% of our current jobs, what we see as a prospective job, they will be at high risk of computerization over the following 10 to 20 years. Now, I mention this not as a doomsayer or being pessimistic, or to paint a very bleak future, or to frighten you on this very important day of your whole full course of secondary school learning. But with the technological advancement, developments in, for example, in AI, in artificial intelligence, and machine learning, big data, and globalization, still globalization will only excel its effect. It will not be minimized in the next centuries or something, if only it takes a different form. So the world is really changing quickly. Some jobs will become obsolete. You have to really come to reckon the fact, while others will remain and thrive. So you may ask me now, what are some of the jobs that researchers predict will continue to exist in future? So I just fill those, gaps and predict that I only want certainty. What about lawyers, doctors, teachers? They will be there. These all have less than what they predict, less than, the teachers will be very happy to hear this, less than 1% of chance of being replaced. So you may even consider thinking of being a teacher. But not just a teacher that you thought, if I could just deliver knowledge, which was so basic and fundamental. But there's something more, even with a teacher in future. Okay, we may say that it is true that only professional jobs will survive. But not really. Plumbers, they're very professional, The government of Hong Kong has just released the unemployment rate in Hong Kong. Stays in 2.4, 2.5%. From an economist's point of view, 2-point-something% is not unemployment at all. But Hong Kong actually faces a different problem, and not unemployment, but many areas are, in fact, not having enough people to join the same category of jobs. Plumbers is constructive workers. These are very typical examples in Hong Kong now. We're so short of this type of manpower. So you think they will survive? We don't know. But I think the important point here is not to talk about, to predict which particular job will survive. Because they may not, they may. Even for plumbers, doctors, lawyers, yes, 1%. But the thing is, we never know. And we should switch our conceptual model, our thinking to perhaps asking the question of what is more important is what qualities will these future jobs share. If you can imagine yourself getting a job in 10, 20 years from now, you will probably have to think further and bigger on what kind of qualities will these future jobs share. Let me offer 3 what I think are common characteristics. You've been hearing all this word all along, and it won't stop for a while. Innovative, all right, the first quality. Built on, they are innovative, but also built on what we call now human relationships. But they are complex and unpredictable. So these 3 common characteristics: innovative, built on human relationships, but they do have a nature of being also complex or unpredictable. Machines can learn, but they cannot yet match the innovative, creative aspects of the human mind. Robots can mimic actions, but they are not yet able to feel, to respond to emotions, to show empathy, and to provide personalized services. Computer programs are increasingly sophisticated, but they are not yet able to flexibly look for problems in novel, changing environment and provide solutions with the responsiveness and liveliness of the human mind. Complex solutions still require human originality. So knowing all these future, what I call characteristics of future jobs, how do we prepare, or how do you prepare yourselves for the future? First, be innovative. What is innovative, after all? I have yet come up with an answer. This is the fourth most revolutionary industrial revolution we are facing. From Enlightenment, from Industrial Revolution, from the third post-industrial revolution, somehow in school, we come up with a syllabus. We tell the students what they need to study. You do more computers, you do better in algorithm, you do better in algebra, or you do better with the whole reform in the Chinese and English language. You do more communicative language arts. But be innovative. This time, the fourth industrial revolution, we have yet a syllabus developed. As Education Bureau, what are we supposed to teach in secondary schools about STEM education? In the university, we're now engaging in hot debates and discourses on how to put together what we call an informed syllabus or curriculum, so that we can actually advance the STEM culture and not yet the education. So this is a very complex problem. So what I wanted to tell you is, if you talk about be innovative, in a way, I would say, first of all, look for new options and combinations. Look for new options and combinations. For example, lawyers are no longer just lawyers, but they can write programs and later on develop those programs to provide legal advice across classes. You know, we're in a society, some can afford to pay higher charges and costs for lawyers, some cannot. And if we're talking about advancing and approaching a more a fairer and, grounded with justice society, perhaps you should think even more innovative for being a good lawyer. All right? Now, doctors. Doctors are not just clinical doctors only. Leadership in public health, leadership in asking the right questions of advancing medical research. Doctors can also engineers who develop robotic arms, and artificial hearts and lungs, which in fact is a very popular and in fact one of the excellent areas developed by Imperial College in University of London. They take students on higher grades, higher marks than taking clinical potential medical students. So what I'm saying here is don't restrict yourself to a specific discipline. You will probably end up even looking more what I call introvert, lock yourself in a more insular domain. I don't want to quote, but still I have to quote Steve Jobs, Apple's pioneer. He got his inspiration not from IT. You thought, he must have done a lot of courses in IT during his university days. But we all know, in fact, the whole idea of inventing that Apple computer started from him enrolling in a fine art course. I was in a time when Apple began to really flourish in the United States. There was a very simple statement, and it says, if you can point, you can use a computer. So this is the whole idea of how Steve Jobs was trying to revolutionize what we once thought as very hardcore technical fields that one would never have been able to just, you just imagine, if there had not been Apple, iPhone, and all these devices. Okay, what I wanted to continue to say here, perhaps not taking too much of your time. Now, we're all facing a rapidly changing world. What I really would want you to stop for a while and tell yourself, as the world is spinning faster, you really have to stay even more calm, cooler, but rational. Because when you face the complexity, you need a very good foundation of an analytical mind, a very independent thinking, an analytical mind, with all the resources that you can gather together in coming up with an optimal solution. Like just I started off to say, again, be brave and mix different solutions. In other words, be open to all possibilities. Be analytical when it comes to locating the optimal solutions. And be ready to face challenges, even if they may turn out to be failures. One has to fail. This is a very statement now, and it's empirically found, evidence-based, that one really has to fail in startup projects. Part of the innovative efforts is to encourage students and young people to do startups. One really has to fail in many startup projects for many times before success can even knock at your door. So, once again, the whole idea of a graduation is also that you are starting something new. The workplace, or even if you decide to pursue further education, is definitely not a continuation of secondary school. And this is one thing I really want you to remember by heart. To conclude, I wanted to offer what I call my 7 life meaning tips, lifelong meanings tips for you all. First, I really mean to be short, brief, so that you can now, if do a bit of memorization, but later on when you turn 20, when you turn 30, when you turn 40, I hope these will float up again in your mind. First, 7, okay? They're very short. Think big, but observe the details. Easy, right? Think big, but observe the details. The whole notion of think big is not using any illegitimate means to get the bakes or get the biggest share. No, no, no. Have that spirit of endeavor, adventure. Do something beyond what your peers are all busy doing. Try to think something beyond your immediate social or human arena. Second, when you do all this is only 2 words. Have passion. Easy? Passion is a very easy word, right? So, have passion. Third, pursued cooperation across borders. B-O-R-D-E-R-S. I do not mean just land, national borders, or whatever. One of the many things that we cannot do things as well as we should have been is because we shoot ourselves in an in-group border. So, when you pursue cooperation across borders. If you are going to do engineering, think how the musicians, how they think about music. Think about how the poets, when they write poets, what actually are they thinking? How are some of the musicians and poets now turn their products into what I call, again, another phrase of computerization? So, pursued cooperation across borders. Fourth, remember, diversity, something different from you. We call it the third or the others. Remember that diversity, in fact, is the source of strength. Diversity. If you were to do something beyond borders, across borders, have passion, accommodate diversity, because that's a source of your strength, what we ask you to do is really the fifth, leave your comfort zone and adopt a spirit of endeavor. So, leave the comfort zone. Remember, ability breeds confidence. That's my 6 lifelong meaning tips. What is my 7th? It's a very good number, right? 7 for luck. And I want you to really remember this hard, my 7th. Always help those who have less than you do. You are not successful until you can afford to share what you have already owned, and what you have already known. So always remember that you help those who have less than you do. This is my 7th. So today, as you step into your future, I wish you all the very best in your future endeavors. And hope you will all embrace challenges and opportunities you face with creativity, with passion, with your willingness to jump out from the comfort zone, with ingenuity and compassion. Remember to share with those who have less than you do, who know less than you do. Thank you all. Congratulations again for the graduation.
Thank you, Professor Wong, for sharing with us the importance of equipping ourselves with essential attributes and getting ready for future challenges. We will also remember the 7 tips by heart. 多謝黃教授同我哋分享幾個我哋必須要具備嘅特質，以面對未來嘅挑戰嘅重要性，亦唔會忘記黃教授所講嘅7項有改變性嘅提醒。